So when a dad comes into your office and
Hmm.
asks, "What's this process going to look like? What can I expect?" What do you tell them?
Well, although the you talked about the grade being D minus, where I have been primarily practicing, which is Indianapolis, Indiana, that area, the Hamilton County, which is Noblesville, Fishers, Carmel area, with it's been really good. I would really say that we're on the A plus scale, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why when a father comes into my office, I tell them, listen, we are on a even playing field. Um, there has been such a stereotype that the courts have favored mothers, but the stereotype has been developed, in my opinion, by mothers, um, because fathers don't know their rights. And so when a stereotype or a rumor gets out there and has been out there for so long, it tends to come across as the truth. And if you don't refute it, um, it lives on. And so
Mm-hmm.
I have told many of my clients, listen, we are coming with a fair playing ground. The only way when we're not coming on an even playing ground is when you haven't really been in your child's life. And then we have to kind of reunify, and reintroduce you into the child's life. But if you have been that father, has been a constant player in your child's life, we're going to shoot for joint physical custody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's something. I think you touched on a really really good point, and this is something that a lot of times I have to explain to my clients is there is this deep seated belief, and I think it's different in each generation,
Uh-huh.
and it's different from race to race.
Yes,
In
absolutely.
terms of how deeply seated or what the actual beliefs are, there's a difference in, I would say, Hispanic families, Black
Hmm.
families, white families
Uh-huh.
on what exactly they believe a mother's role and a father's role are when there's a divorce or there's a breakup and there's a child involved. Do
Absolutely.
you see that in Indiana? I know in California, I'll be it's with say the African American community, it can be very very perverse. It's like, dad, get away, we don't need you, and you have to
Yeah.
explain to them like, hey, that's not the case. That's something that's just generational.
Yeah.
Hispanic families can be a lot the same. Where in my experience, when a white individual comes into my office, a white man comes in, he's like,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, I want what I deserve. I want it to be fair. I want as much time with my kids."
Uh-huh.
Where the men of color are a lot more likely to say, like, "Well, whatever you can get me. Like, I know I'm not supposed to be here." I'm like, "No, you have every right. You're
Yeah.
every bit as important." So, what's your experience in Indiana on that?
It's exactly what you just said. And many times, I'm also a licensed minister as well. So many times I have to play both both roles, the attorney, but
Mm-hmm.
also the minister from a spiritual perspective, because most of my clients and my African American clients, they come into my office so beaten down, thinking that they don't have any rights. And exactly what you said, Mark, just get me anything. Just if I could just see my child just like once a week, they're happy. And I'm like, no, you deserve more than that. And so they have been so beaten down by mothers, at least the clients that I have that has retained me, that I have to convince them that you have a right, and that you have a right to fight for your child. And you have a right to be there. And just getting one day a week is not what the law is even allowing you to do. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that that is a generational. I say a generational curse in the African American community, where the mothers have just kind of pushed the fathers away. Like, I don't need you. Um, and it's so ridiculous. And in fact, that's what actually happened in my own experience, where my biological father was pushed away, as indicating that I can raise my own child. I grew up with my mother's favorite words: "I'm your mama and your daddy."
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not, mom. You're my mom. And because of that, it broke my heart, because I wanted to have a father. And many times my clients are coming in with that same idea. Listen, she's the mama and the daddy. I just want some time with my child.
Yeah, and you saying that, I'm envisioning. I mean, just last week had he's early 20s African American male. Mom's been withholding the kid. He's been working for a year and a half. He's
Hmm.
afraid to go into the court system.
Wow.
Finally comes into my office, and I'm like, well, what do you want in a dream world? What do you get? And
Mm-hmm.
his response was like, if I could just see my son for a few hours a week.
Yep.
And you have to sit there and you have to educate them, but sometimes it's not even just mom's family. That it may be the
Mm-hmm.
maternal grandmother,
Yep.
auntie, cousins, friends, but they may be hearing that from their own family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think it's really perverse. Is there's sometimes you have the dad's family's like, yeah, you're really not supposed to be involved, just move on.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can imagine, and that's what harms a lot of guys in terms of getting a lot of custody. Is this kid came? I won't call him a kid. He's a grown man. He's in his
Yeah.
20s, but he came to me, and it's been a year and a half. So
Mm-hmm.
now, as you mentioned, we have to go through the reunification process. You haven't been
Yeah.
involved for more than half of your child's life. Where
Yeah.
if you come in right when it happens, like we're in court in a couple months,
Mm-hmm.
and this court process may be completely over already.
Right. Absolutely.